Welcome back everybody, I'm Jane Louise
And I'm Nishal Patel.
and this is Nish's Dishes. What are we doing today?
So today we are making ghee.
Woo.
So ghee is clarified butter. So it removes all the impurities out of the butter and increases its boiling point and its health benefits. And so yeah, ghee is has been used in Ayurvedic medicine in India for since 5000 BC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, as we go on, I'll be interested to understand, because it's not something that we would do in this country ordinarily,
No.
is use ghee or know how to use it. Maybe you do. So I'll be interested to know how, what dishes it can go in.
Absolutely.
And how often you use it, and yeah, let's get going.
Yeah. Okay. So for ghee, we need the right pan. So you want a heavy base pan because you're going to be boiling the butter for a while and you don't want it to burn. So we're going to make ghee with 2 blocks of butter. Now butter wise, I'm using salted butter because I do like the taste of salted butter, but you can use unsalted, and it doesn't have to be anything special really. Okay, so it's just come out of the fridge and I'm just going to pop it straight into the pot.
So how did this all come about then? Is it because Indian people realise that cooking just with that from scratch is not good for you?
I'm not sure actually, that's something I need to find out. But well, back in India I believe it was a case of how to preserve butter actually. Actually this is the reason, how to preserve butter, because they didn't have fridges back in the days. It should stay okay as long as you evaporated all the water out of it. So we are now just going to leave it on a medium heat to melt, and once it's melted then we will reduce it down and we just want it to simmer. It does take about 20 minutes to make ghee, and once it's melted you'll be able to see the impurities floating on the top, and we'll show you how that's looking then.
And how do you get rid of those impurities?
So when it boils, what you'll see is that the impurities will float to the top initially, and you'll have a white foam sort of area at the top. As it overboils, eventually it will drop down to the base and it will become very clear over the top. So we will see this process in a minute, and then when it's all boiled over, we will sieve away the impurities.
So you can see all the impurities now.
Yeah.
They've come up quite quickly, haven't they?
And
And then drop down.
Yeah, so it'll probably take another 10 minutes or so, but the butter there, it's quite creamy, isn't it? It's not translucent yet. It will become translucent and the colour will change as well. So yeah, and the solids will start dropping down to the base. And that's why you need a thick base really, so that it doesn't burn at the bottom. To burn. You can see it's still quite cloudy in there, so that's going to really clear through. So we'll just leave it for a bit longer. Because it's got a high boiling point, it will retain that heat for quite a long time. So reducing down the temperature will still keep it going, but we don't want it too high. So you can see that it's really boiling there and bubbling over. So I'm going to reduce the heat because you don't need it so high. We don't want the milk solids on the base to burn, and because the boiling point is quite high, even when you reduce the temperature, the process is still going on. It is still clarifying. Yeah, and that smell, if you can smell it. Oh, it's amazing. It's so creamy and there's like a nutty smell coming through.
It's like fudgy, caramelly.
Yeah, and that is the actual milk solids on the base sort of heating up and sort of browning slightly, but you don't want it to go too golden brown. That's good. So you can see that it's starting to curdle a bit and thicken up. So, and the butter's getting slightly clearer underneath.
Is that stuff on the top, you know, if someone was lactose intolerant, they couldn't have that on the top? Okay.
That is your milk solids.
Okay.
So, and the impurities in there, and there'll be salt in there as well.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Just natural salt?
Yeah, the salt, yeah. So while we're waiting for it to clarify further, at this point you would put your rice on or unload the dishwasher. So you could just let it do its thing in the background. A good time to actually make ghee is when you're in the kitchen doing other things. So if you're up in the morning and you're going to be in the kitchen anyway, put the butter in and just put it on a low heat and let it simmer through. You don't want to really leave the house or leave the room just in case it burns underneath. So you can see, if I move the solids, it's a lot clearer underneath now. So we need it to cook still a bit further.
What colour will it go eventually? Just that golden yellow?
Yeah, it turns slightly browner, but you want it a lot clearer than this still. And the good idea when making ghee is to have to make it in a pot that has got a light base, so a steel base or a white base. If you make it in a darker base pot, you can't really see what's happening on the base.
True. So here we have our ghee now, and you can see when I part the spoon just how clear that is. And as Nishal said, it's starting to move to the bottom now.
Don't touch the bottom though.
No.
Just the top.
So we don't touch the bottom there, as Nishal said, just the top. I guess that brings it all back up to the surface if you do that.
You can really see now that it has changed in colour and texture. So with that, it's all clear underneath, and it's got this lovely golden colour to it.
Oh, honey.
And the smell is a lot more nuttier. See? And it's starting to brown underneath, it's not burnt. So you can stop here, or if you would like it a bit more golden, you can carry on, but this is where I like to stop it. So as nowadays we have fridges, what I like to do is just sprinkle a bit of water onto the top of it, and that changes the texture of the ghee when it cools down. It has a more grainy effect rather than it being too smooth. So I think the shock of the water hitting the hot fat sort of gives it that sort of texture eventually. You see that bubbling up? It just shocks it a bit. I'm just going to let it boil for another few minutes and then turn it off and let it cool.
So you wait for this popping sound
to
finish. Yeah.
That's the actual water burning off, actually, the popping sound.
So once that's burnt off.
Yeah. And that quietens down a bit more, I will turn the hob off.
Okay.
So I'm just turning it off now. You can see all the solids have disappeared, and we've only got like the bubbles coming up. Look at that, it's all quite clear.
Only we could show them how this smells.
It smells amazing, doesn't it? There you go, you can see the solids at the bottom. Some have gone a bit browner, but that's okay. Yeah, so it's going to have a nice nutty taste
fudge?
to it.
Tablet, Scottish tablet.
So we're just going to leave that to cool now on the side. So I'm going to transfer it over here and just let it cool down. Remember, it's really hot. Think of it as oil, hot oil. So you wouldn't go and splash it on you anywhere. So just let it cool down before we sieve it out. I've got a very fine sieve here. I'm going to use that to sieve away the ghee into this jar, so we collect all the impurities, if any escape, into the sieve. So here we go.
Just be really careful.
Be really careful. Remember, it's just like hot oil and it retains its heat.
What colour is that?
So it's quite a lot of butter. This was from 2 blocks. So I'm going to stop there now that all the impurities are coming to the base. There you go.
And then look
See,
in there,
look
it's
at
like
that.
a scourge, isn't it?
That's got the impurities. That's really salty and that's the remaining butter. So this is why we can use that to make chapatis. So we've come to the end of our ghee making.
Yeah.
It's taken about 45 minutes because we've done it really slowly on a low heat. You can do it faster on a higher heat, but you're more likely to get a bit more burning and the colour of the ghee will be a lot browner. Which is okay, you can still use it.
It's like syrup, isn't it?
It is, it's like honey. Love that smell.
My nan, that's what it is. My nan used to make toffee, cinder toffee, and it's the smell of the treacle
Oh, okay, yeah.
and the butter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the melting of that butter, isn't it?
Great.
Brilliant.
So we've got our ghee here. It's very hot. We're going to let that cool down now. Pop it in the fridge when it's cooled down, and it's ready to use, like you said, on toast, chapatis, whatever.
Whatever you want to, yeah. So you can use it on bread, on chapatis, in curries, on rice, and in Indian sweets. And also an alternative to your normal butter if you like.
Yeah. So thank you so much for staying with us and watching our video. Please do subscribe to our channel if you want to see similar content. Like the video, share it amongst your family and friends.
Share it to all.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.